All right, everybody, welcome back to Beans No Ball. We go a little free agency update for you guys. But before we get into it, some sad news in the NFL today. Former player Alex Collins, former Seahawk, former Raven, sadly passed away today. It was don't really have too much of the news just at the moment, but regardless, a former member of this league. It's pretty sad to see, but we'll get into this. Obviously, Christian, our condolences.
Yeah, it was just a very unexpected death. Lots of former players have been, dying. It's really a big tragedy, but obviously condolences to organizations and the families of Alex Collins. Now getting into the video, we have, like how we said before in our update, that we were going to make separate tiny little videos for signings or trades, and today we actually had some pretty big signings. So I'll be starting off with familiar with me, Ezekiel Elliott. He signed this morning with the New England Patriots at a 1-year up to $6 million deal. Obviously, me as a Cowboys fan, I love Zeke, but obviously with the steady decline that's been happening since he's been in the league since 2016, and in the past 3 to 4 years, he just really hasn't been productive. And like how I talked about before, we did run him to the ground. I'm not gonna lie, his knees are honestly probably in shambles right now. But looking at New England and their running back room with Zeke and Stevenson, without a doubt, Stevenson is going to be the week 1 starter. He's going to be the running back 1 with Zeke being the backup. Obviously, all last season we did use Zeke as a as a power back, 1 yard line, second, 30 inches, goal line. He really hasn't been that explosive as he was in college, and the first 3 years he was a little quick. But just my opinion on this signing, I don't think it's really a big thing for New England. I mean, Zeke's not really the big name, the big Ezekiel that we used to know. And like I said earlier in the league, I really wish it was in New England. Hopefully, like I talked about before, Bill Belichick's scheme with the run game, I really hope he fits well in there. But I just don't see any productiveness with the running game with Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we both predicted this to happen. We expected, we know how the Patriots run game has looked, and they were definitely in the market for a running back, at least to help out Stevenson, take off the load and make it easier for him. And this is probably a really, it's not obviously not a high value thing, but it definitely does take off the load. And I mean, obviously it's a low risk, probably low reward to see what he can do. It's a base salary of $3 million. With incentives, it could be worth up to $6 million. So, pretty good value for the Patriots. My opinion, it's going to be a thing to, one, help Stevenson, but also give him a push. If Zeke can break out in his own way, you never know if he's capable of, catching some form back as of late, and he might be able to beat him out, maybe even get back into a running back 1 role. But, I mean, regardless, I think it's a smart move for the Patriots. And, of course, we'll move on to another running back that we discussed in our last video, Dalvin Cook. Obviously, this was probably the biggest level of player that was discussed in our prediction video last. And I did get this prediction right. He's heading to the Jets. Obviously, you expected the Jonathan Taylor situation. Maybe he'd head to the Colts, but it's been speculated long enough. He is going to end up on the Jets. Obviously, now we know here he probably is going to be the top option. Not even probably. He is definitely going to be the number 1 option here with the Jets. Yeah, Breece Hall is a really good second option, but it all depends on how much of a push. And I really think this is going to be a great 1-2 punch. I'm still debating if this is enough to make a playoff push. Still, we'll see what we say in our season prediction. But regardless, it's a great move for the Jets, and we'll see how it pays out moving forward.
Yeah. So honestly, Jets, they're not messing around this year. Hopefully, they can live up to that standard. Obviously, acquiring Aaron Rodgers, I believe it was in March, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and then obviously picking up Alan Lazard from the Packers. They really need some receiving weapons. I really don't think Garrett Wilson can carry that receiving core on its own. So that receiving core, it's I would say it's fairly decent, but it could use some improvements. And now obviously looking at the running back room, adding Dalvin Cook. This is a very, very great pick for the Jets. I really like this pickup. Dalvin Cook, the past 4 years, he's been great. He's had 4 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, and we saw that big monster season he had during the quarantine season. I believe it was 13 or 16 touchdowns he recorded. I'm not too sure, but it was around there. And yeah, Dalvin Cook, hopefully the Jets really could make a push with them. And obviously the sign was a 1 year, I believe, $8.6 million.
Up to
8.6 million. So it was a $7 million deal with $1.6 million in incentives, so $8 million. So I think it's not the best contract for Dalvin Cook. I do really think he deserves a little more. Looking at the Ezekiel Elliott contract, he's just making a little bit more than him. But obviously, to safe route, see how Dalvin Cook does this season, and with that Jets running back room, I really think Dalvin Cook is secure that one spot. Obviously, with Brees Hall at the second spot, I really like the signing. I really hope Dalvin Cook thrives in Jets, and he's going to do well. Really hope he stays with consistency. And obviously, ending it off with the last signing, which is obviously once again my team. Zach Martin is finally back at training camp. Finally got the contract talks. He signed a 2-year, around 20-something million, 30-something million with Cowboys. So this year he will be making 13.5. As of next year, he will be making 14 million, and then 8.5 million, and an additional 8.5 million. So just closing in at 30 million. Honestly, I'm really glad we finally got the contract up with Zach Martin. He is the epitome of our offensive line. Him and Tyron Smith with Zach Martin at the guard spot, he has made an impact so much for us since he's been drafted. So I really like this contract for him. It's a nice, safe contract. He's really going to make a big impact for the Cowboys once again.
Yeah, of course, you covered that perfectly. Nice to see Martin back in training camp, of course, ending the holdout. And, for me, obviously, this is the key part of seeing Tony Pollard's success. We know the Cowboys are giving the keys to the run game to him. It's, they're giving the full trust. And obviously, knowing the Cowboys have a history of really good offensive line, that's why they do have a history of a good run game. So it comes down to this, and it was a necessary move. Jerry Jones knew it had to happen, and he got it done. Of course, that's basically gonna end up doing it for this. A little quick update on some big signings today. As the signings come, we'll start getting them out if there's any big names that go off the board, any last second trades in the off season. But apart from that, stay on the lookout for our big preseason videos, and we'll still seeing how we're gonna roll them out. But of course, we're gonna predict the divisions, gonna get the playoffs predicted, and our season awards. So as the season is slowly approaching, September 7th or whenever it is coming, the day cannot come soon enough. And
September 10th, I think.
September 10th, just about, yeah. So we'll, just highly expecting that. And that being said, we'll see you guys in the next video, and thank you for watching.